Okay, so our podcast is live and in directories. Now it's time to level up our game and talk about creating amazing content for our podcast. Hey there, I'm Craig Hewitt here from Castos. In this How to Start a Podcast series, today we're diving into how to create really share-worthy content for our show and for our audience. I think one of the rubs on podcasting is people say, I don't need yet another podcast. You know what? I would agree. We don't need yet another average podcast. It's not really pushing the envelope. It's not doing things differently. It's not making us as creators and our audiences learn about us and ourselves and our brand and the thing we're talking about. And I think that's really at its core what creating great content about is being innovative in how we're telling a story and how we're creating relationships with our audience. So if you're new to content creation or you're new to podcasting just in general, I have a couple of quick tips here that will help us push that envelope and stand out a little bit. Especially if you're doing an interview-based show, I have two strategies that I really like. One is looking for guests that people haven't heard of before. So if you're in the kind of mixed martial arts space, maybe, there's probably a lot of people that kind of make the podcast rounds that you've heard a lot of. I probably wouldn't interview those people because they've already told their story a whole bunch of times. So what I might do is go find the rising star there, right? The person that people haven't really heard of, and he or she has something really interesting to say on the topic. That's a angle that I have to really bring some spice and bring some variety to my podcast content. If you do want to interview that person that everybody's heard a whole bunch of times, you got to do your homework and you got to learn maybe what they haven't talked about on a podcast before. So if I'm going to go interview Tim Ferriss, I might ask about like some childhood trauma that I've heard about, but I haven't heard him talk in detail on his podcast about before. So talk to people who your audience has never heard of before, or talk to the same people that they've heard a whole bunch of times, but talk about something that they've never heard before. In terms of doing a solo show like this, I think it all comes down to preparation for creating really great and engaging content. It's really easy just to turn the camera and the microphone on and just rant for a while. But that's not great, right? I want to do some research on the topic that I'm going to talk about. I want to create an outline. I want to reference other materials. I want to talk to other creators in my space. And I want to be prepared to create really great content. This is where the work you do before you start the camera and the microphone rolling really pays off in your ability to deliver and just create really great content. And the last thing I'll mention is there's a saying like the camera puts on 10 pounds, right? You hear, movie stars talk about this. The camera does something else and it makes you 20% less interesting, I would say. So here today, I'm shooting this video. I'm standing up. I'm really projecting. I'm really animated because if I don't, I sound and I seem really boring. And this is just something that a lot of first-time podcasters run into is they say, gosh, I hate the sound of my voice. I sound so dumb. I sound so boring, right? And you're not. It's just that that's how the microphone and the camera kind of makes you seem, especially if you're nervous or you're reading a script or something like that. So giving you permission to be animated, be vibrant, be energetic, stand up if you have a standing desk. It really helps me a lot. And give some personality to the presentation of your show. We have a whole bunch of content around this on our blog. Head to castos.com/blog to learn more. In the next video, where you're talking about marketing your podcast.